Okay, so in the basket weaving folder, we have videos that I've already put in there, and so you can reference them. But today I'm going to show you how you can change out your colors, and then how we can add voids. So I'm going to go over those two things. Let me grab a blue needle for myself. Okay. You can keep using the metal needle if you like it, but I like the blue needle for just as now that we're at this point. The blue needle does have a little bit bigger eye, so you know that's that might help you. For threading through, like it's pretty easy for me to thread that through. But if you like the small needle, you know, maybe it's easier for you to pull through your previous, you know, when you're trying to anchor, then that's fine. I'm okay with whatever you want to do. Okay, so let's talk about changing colors first. So this is me getting my piece started. I'm going to unravel it just a little bit because what I'm going to do is gotta find the other end of my. So one thing I think I failed to talk to y'all about, you know, I sent home those three or four of those big wound up yarn pieces. You might cut some extra off, like you might not use that whole thing, but if the whole thing works for you, like because everything's kind of, I wrapped it up, you know, I used kind of a winder, then you only have to pick up that ball of yarn and twist around it, or you can just keep wrapping it, you know, that works too, and then cut off when you're finished with that color. So that's something you can do, but if it's too much to coordinate, then I would just do like at least 2 arm lengths of pulling some yarn yarn off, and work with just that little bit at a time. Okay, because when I show you today how to get started, okay, so what I want to do is, if I'm switching, or let's say I even wanted to add more of one color and I ran out. So even if I had this green color and I wanted to add more, it's obviously ending. Or if you want to change colors, you can. So what I want to do, you can have it even overlap a little bit because we can always cut the excess off. You're going to hold your new piece of yarn, the end of it, on wherever that the cording is finished being covered, and I am going to take my existing color and wrap around it, and so now I'm kind of locking in this color. And then I'm getting towards the end. When I get towards the end and I got like about an inch or so left, I'm going to stop. And this one's in there pretty good, this new blue color. I'm going to just lay this kind of down, this green along the cording. And I'm going to take this new color, this blue, or if it's again the same color, and then I'll start wrapping it. Okay, so now I'm covering the old color. Okay, and you know, I might decide I want to anchor it before I finished. So I might just I'm going to pull it a little tighter so I get less gaps. I want to try to minimize the gaps unless it's the intentional void that I'm trying to get in there between the coils. Okay, so I'm going to real good. Real tight. There it goes. Okay, and then I'm going to keep wrapping it, and if I still have a little bit of this green color showing, I can either wrap it, or if I've wrapped it at least an inch, then I can cut off the excess. And I'm just going to keep wrapping it. And then because I'm using the pressure from the two different colors to help hold it together. Okay, so there's a little bit of the blue in this green space, and then the remaining green is being wound underneath the blue. Okay, now if I want to start adding voids, you know, of course I might go here and maybe want to make my base a little wider, and so I might anchor it again, but I'm just going to show you how to add a void. And depending on how big the void is, what you're doing with that void means how much you're going to wrap your cording before you get there. Now let's say if I'm going to start making small little void petal shapes like this. I'm going to do it a little bit longer. I'm going to go to that. And then what I'm going to do is, instead of it being flushed up against here, up against the previous base coil, I want to position it wherever I'm going to anchor it. Okay, so if I want it to have a little void here, I'm going to anchor it right here. Uh-oh. There it goes. Sometimes it gets a little like caught up in a knot. So I'm going to anchor it twice. Okay, so I have my void right here. Okay, and then I would go back and again start wrapping my blue. Put that down here. And I'm going to keep, if I want to do another void, maybe I want to do 3 of them. So I want to put one here, and then one here. Then I'm just going to wrap my cording till I get to the point where I can actually create that void. It's not quite big enough. I'm going to keep wrapping. So I know I gave y'all a good amount of cording. So you can actually end up making a larger piece because we're including voids. It can kind of push up, maybe give your piece height or width. There you go. That's pretty good. We'll call that's good. You know, by giving it some just kind of shape it with your fingers, get it where you want it. There it goes. Ta-da. Uh-oh, I think I went inside another. Oh no, okay. There you go. And I just do 2, but you can do 3. So if you want the anchor to be a little bit wider, you can. You can do 5 if you want even, okay? Okay, so I've got 2 voids, and then I would, again, wrap it again, and I would make like a petal here, okay? If I'm ready for it to stop having voids, maybe these are the only 2 voids that I want, then I'm going to go back to just doing kind of the similar thing that we've done before, where I'm just going to keep wrapping it, and then I'll anchor it to the previous coil. So I might wrap this one for a while, and either I can anchor it here, or I can even anchor it to even where there's a void, okay? And then I could just continue wrapping it around this way until I get to the spot that I want to add another void. All right, but all you have to do is when you're wrapping your singular coil, then you just kind of push it up and just to create that gap, that void in there. One of the examples I showed you yesterday had a loop-de-loop. So if you wanted to do something like that, I would wrap this singular all for a long time probably, because I can just take this and create a little bit of a loop-de-loop. And I might, I might come in and as I'm wrapping, I might anchor it to the other one and then anchor it back down and create a loop-de-loop like that. We're double up. Okay. Or, I mean, I guess however you want it to be. Like this could be, and then that might even start changing the shape. So this might start coming out to be more of a triangle shape depending on where you're putting your pieces and how you keep building out that piece. It could still be round even with the triangle void in the bottom. But that's how you do those 2 things, adding a new color and creating a void. Let me actually pull that up. In the folder is where that information is. Yes. Okay. I know it's in mine too. I think I have it. Ours is the ones that we have made. Casey Blades has it. If you want to look her up that way, they're the ones with the little kitten face, or our basket weaving ones. So we'd watch part 2. Okay, basket weaving part 2. Part 3 is adding yarn. So if you want a recap of how to add yarn, it's right there. Okay. So and that's either adding yarn of the same color or adding a different color. Okay. either way, it works the same. You kind of are overlapping the ends underneath each other to anchor it down. Okay. And well, I guess she does it that way too. That is, you can. I didn't anchor it. You know how we pierce through our piece. Piercing through our cording, if we're gonna change colors, just makes that bond a little stronger. But if I go back here, like it's pretty strong where mine two were, and I didn't even pierce through. So if you really want to make sure that it's that locks that cording in there, you can pierce it through. I actually during 6th period used the needle that y'all have. Y'all have a much better needle than the one I had yesterday. Yesterday I was like kind of trying to wiggle it and getting it in there. Yours is sharper. It's got a sharper point to it, and it's thinner, so it was able to wiggle through a lot easier. Okay. So anyways, that's up there for you if you want to recap. And then I am going to, I'll eventually throw mine up there because I've been recording myself here.